Our first example for solving a linear quadratic system by substitution is composed of the equations y equals x squared plus 3x minus 5 and x minus y equals negative 3. So if you notice, my y here, the quadratic equation, has the y already by itself. So it would be easier for us to proceed by substituting the whole value of y here from the quadratic equation into the y of the linear equation, because that y is already by itself. This will give us a single equation that we could solve in order for us to get the x values for this system. So because of that, this whole three terms will substitute into the y. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So my equation now will follow that linear equation composed of x minus, so instead of writing this y, I now substitute x squared plus 3x minus 5. I'm going to use a parenthesis, x squared plus 3x minus 5. So I just copied everything here. Instead of writing this y, I have written its other value in this form. And after that, don't forget the rest of your linear equation, which is equals negative 3. And so here we are. We have the single equation that we need to simplify. So first thing I will do, I will remove the parentheses, and because I have a minus here, the signs inside will change. So this x squared will take that sign, but this plus and that minus will take its opposite. So x minus x squared, this will become a minus 3 plus 5. And at this point, I'm going to move the negative 3 across the equality symbol. It's going to move over that equal sign. So it will also take the opposite sign and become a plus 3. And I want the other side to be 0. And simplifying, I am going to follow the standard form by going by degrees. The highest degree here is 2, so I'm going to start with that term. So I'm going to write minus x squared. And x minus 3x is minus 2x. And I have 5 plus 3, which is equals 2 plus 8, equals 0. At this point, you notice that there is a negative in front of the first term. I don't like that. We do not like that. So I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 1. That would give me a positive x squared, and it will change the sign of the rest of the equation. And that gives me a equal 0. So now this is going to be easier to factor. And let me remind you that at this point, I'm allowing you to use the factoring calculator just because you still need to review your factoring skills. So using the factoring calculator, you will find x minus 2 and x plus 4. So this is your standard form of the quadratic equation. This is the factored form. We're using the factored form so we could find the values of x. So our first x, you take the opposite of that minus 2, that would be x equals positive 2. And the other one would be take the opposite sign, so this would be minus 4. So these are our x values. Oh, no, yes, our x values, which we are going to substitute into one of these equations up here to get our y values. Now, I would choose the linear equation just because it's easier to work with. So using the linear equation here and substituting the value of x equals 2 So I'm gonna have x is 2 minus y equals negative 3. And again, subtracting 2 from both sides of the equation, you're gonna end up with negative y equals, this will become negative 3 and minus 2 when you move that on the other side. So I'll have minus y equals negative 5. And again, I don't like this negative here. So I'm gonna divide both sides by negative 1. You're doing that mentally. So this y is equals to positive 5. And at this point, I now have the first coordinate composed of 2 and 5. Okay. And then here, again, using, and I keep pointing on that linear equation because that's what we're using. So instead of 2, we now have a minus 4 for the x, and minus y equals negative 3. And because we have a negative 4 here, we would do the opposite, adding of 4 to both sides of the equation, which will give me minus y, and that would cancel out on this part, on at this part here. So that would be negative 3 plus 4. And so my negative y here is equals to positive 1. And again, I would like to remove that negative, so I divide both sides by negative 1. So I end up having a positive y equals a negative 1. So the second answer would be composed of your negative 4 and negative 1. And these are our coordinates. These are your solutions. I would just box them, and that gives us the solutions of the first example. And I will move on to the next video with your second example. So this is now the complete solution for example number 1.